upper middle class judge's son from Montgomery, Alabama, who grew up with the Walhus family. We were patrol. You ever heard of patrol boys? They used to call them junior safety policemen that are go to school. We used to have flags and uniforms like little Hitler Youth Corps people. And we would do the flags and stop the cars and do all that stuff like that. George Walsh Jr. was my captain. I was the lieutenant. And then we were in a band together. We went to 5th and 6th grade. My father was governor, so my father was a judge. And I used to ride home. We had the same security people. And it was kind of a weird way to grow up. It was kind of cool. And then went off to college and got into radio because I had neighbors that were on the radio station and was disc jockey, and then went off into television pretty quickly with ABC Sports. So I always loved radio and I kept going back to it, but TV, I was able to make more money in television than radio. So I didn't have to listen to it because TV was fun, and I still do both. And then somewhere along the line I started teaching about 10 years ago. So I teach music business and PR classes. I think 40 or 50, but see, sometimes like I'm on a station in Canada every day, and it's on satellite all over Canada. And then I'm on the BBC in Scotland, which is all over there, and then I'm on WSM, which they really promote their online. And when I've got the website, I don't understand how all that works, but they know who's going to the website, and it spits out statistics. So I'm getting people from Israel and the Netherlands and Germany, and they're apparently big listeners to WSM, which is a classic, home of the Opry and all that stuff. So our morning drive, when I'm on in Nashville, is a lunch program in the Netherlands. So they listen to it at lunch. So, I get different people from really all over the world. And then in television, TNN was the biggest pay service in Canada. They used to fly me up to Nova Scotia to do a telethon every year called Christmas Days. And Ralph Emmerich was like Johnny Carson. He was God up there. We were big deals. They didn't care about all these sitcom shows. They liked Nashville Network up there. It was more popular in Canada than it ever was in the United States. Did y'all ever get any reaction, Sammy, from Canadians?
Yeah.
Sammy would be really in Labrador. So no, I've done a lot of different TV stuff. I used to cover real news. I was executive producer for Channel 11 Houston. That's real news person when I had there.
That's what it is. That's why I recognize your voice.
Yeah.
Charlie,
Charlie's got a local television show that runs 6 to 7 in the morning up against the one I'm on. We're feeling pretty bad. And Lori, I don't know. This guy was totally unpredictable. Who knows how he got to be the biggest star in the world for a short period of time? I never understood it. I didn't go to any of them that would be your traditional ones, like in a Dallas, where you can. That's not fair. Go see a George Strait show in Dallas. Okay. Go see a George Strait show in Maine, and if they act that way, then I'm going to get impressed. I saw Garth in a lot of weird places. I saw him in New Jersey, which is not exactly the country capital of the world. He had cab drivers' children. It looked like the United Nations were there, and it was weird. I went to Orlando, which is not the country capital of the world, and saw another group of people. It was impressive. I went to that show at Central Park. It was bigger than the Pope, and the Pope can draw.
What changed him was when he first came out.
You get the kind of money, you go insane.
It was like he was really nervous on stage, and then all of a sudden he was, I'm God's gift to entertainment.
I don't know if I tell you what, a lot of people bash Garth Brooks. I'm not one of those for a lot of reasons. I've never seen anybody treat fans like he did with more. He treated fans with more respect than any artist that I've ever seen that's ever been. Maybe Minnie Pearl was up there with him, but Minnie Pearl was never. Minnie Pearl was. That's not fair. I've seen a lot of them like Bob Hope that were jerks to a lot of fans. Johnny Carson, who was jerk to most of the fans. A lot of people that you like, I can ruin your day. They're mostly not nice to a lot of fans. But Garth Brooks, maybe it was a publicity stunt, probably was, but still, 24 hours eating a taco and going to the bathroom one time, spending 45 seconds with each fan for a 24-hour period, that impressed me. And that's the way it was all the time. I was with this guy a lot. And he was always, he didn't come with an entourage. He drove himself up in a dually all the time. Even when no matter where it was, he'd go to Taco Bell on Dickerson Road and get everybody. He'd love to eat crap. He would get all this food at Taco Bell. when he could be eating, prepared food by a chef. I mean, he's the opposite of what Tim and Faye did. And they really enjoyed their money and kind of getting upper class, but he never did that. He has a place in Los Angeles. He has places in certain places, but he still has that Oklahoma workout. I don't know. He's a weird guy. And easy one to pick on because I don't think a lot of people understood how he got to where he was. But all you had to do was go to one of the shows and see all these young girls that shouldn't even probably be listening to country music at that time. No one else, young girls weren't ever listening to that in the 80s and the 90s. And they knew all the words to every song. There was something special about that guy, and I don't think anybody ever figured out what it was. But now, I don't think many people play a lot of his songs. You don't hear them on the radio like you do a Merle Haggard his music didn't last. A few songs did, maybe 5, The Dance, and, a few things like that. But for as big a star as he was, selling 100 records, his music didn't last. So, I don't know how much of that was marketing, a lot of it, affiliated with McDonald's. He did a lot of tricks, but he had it real too. So, I don't know.
Did you ever meet Selena?
Selena? Nope. She was gone. I met her. But now, I read in the New York Post that she doesn't want to get married again, but she likes sex, so she's sleeping with her friends.
Yeah.
Did you read that story?
She said that on an interview show the other night on Leno, in fact.
Sleeping with her friend. Can you introduce her? Well, I'm trying to be her friend as well. It's just, as I did my interview with her just the other day, I read the story that morning, and it just took everything I could to not say something about it. That probably was one of the most willpower days.
She's doing tremendous relief work, though. Her relief work's terrific.
But she's eccentric, and I think Billy Bob was kind of, he said it, and I do actually believe him, that he was more of a homebody, and, like a lot of actors are, she wanted to go out and do stuff, and he probably didn't. And, she has a home in Cambodia on stilts that you have to get a helicopter to get into. It's in a wildlife preserve with wild tigers and stuff like that. That's a little nutty for me. And her body's like a paint box with all, and now they've blurred it. It used to be a big, pretty ugly tattoo here, and now it looks like you've got bad vision. It still won't go away, but it's like it's blurred. I don't know. You just don't want a tattoo, brother. Huh?
Who were some of the other eccentric stars?
You met Madonna?
Yeah, I danced with Madonna, actually. When I had hair. A lot of things happened when I had hair, but it's still working out. Hugh Hefner, yes, I went to a party with him on Oscar night. And it was the night that Private Ryan won all of it. And yeah, Chris Hanks and Spielberg and the governor of California and somebody else at the table like right over here. And I was standing like right here just kind of keeping an eye on him. But Hefner was here with these, whatever they are, Stepford women that all look the same. And so he had one on each side. And so whenever one would go pee, there would always be another one to sit next to him. So he had thrown it home, Never ran out of one. Which I just think that's just, if you're a guy and you don't want to be Hugh Hefner when you come back, at least for a little while, something's wrong with you, because that is just too much. And I had a friend that's a long story. Actually, there was a movie that was one of those deals where you're on a party line with her and you can talk. You can't talk dirty, but it's just talking. You can talk. And so apparently, some guy got really obsessed with her and somehow broke security. And it was easy to find her because she was from Bell Fountain, Ohio, and her husband was a pharmacist. That's a population like Pflugerville or something. You can find somebody you really want to in a town like that. This guy found her. He apparently offered her husband a lot of money to get some naked pictures of her unauthorized. They went ahead and did it. Pretty good bit of money, a couple of $1,000. And so they did it. So that established some really weird relationship, with them. He sold everything he had, sent his wife and kids to Hawaii, took a train to Cincinnati, rented a car, checked out a hotel, rented a bunch of, I'm not making this up, a bunch of Charles Bronson movies, stayed there for 3 days, got all, psyched up to go meet her husband, well, actually her. He said, I'd like to see Stacy. And he said, I'm sorry, you have to go to the Toledo car show this weekend. And, she's not meeting anybody this week. She's at home with, He didn't like that answer. He went back and got his gun. When Jim came out for lunch to load the car to come to Nashville, he blew his brains out in the middle of the square and then took his own life. I get a call from Stacy, screaming and hollering, freaking out. My best friend's a homicide detective. We get a charter, we go on to Ohio. I got there, helicopters were over her house with Hard Copy and all these other shows. Make a long story short, we ended up dating down the road because I guess she didn't, I don't know. And so I get a call, so I realized after a very relatively ego bit of time for a guy to date someone like this, and then this is not going to be the woman of my life, probably don't want to do this. So we've still remained friends. I get a call from her at some point. She's at the Playboy Mansion in Hollywood. And so I said, okay, so she's still up for Playmate of the Year, even though all this bad stuff's happened. She calls the next day, she's been raped. She wakes up on a pool table, she's been raped. Goes to Santa Monica Rape Clinic to get all that done, whatever you do there. And police are involved, and then they try to get it covered up. Playboy covers it up, paid her a hell of a lot of money for hush money, make her sign a contract she can never say what this all has happened. And then she goes to hard copy. I don't know, this is a crazy story that doesn't really have an ending, but it's just the life of a playmate and a stalker. And they made it a fairly entertaining screenplay, but then Playboy was going to sue if they had called her a playmate, and I think they could have gotten around it, but they just didn't do it. So that's the short version of one of the many stories. Then my book title, if I ever do it, and I've got daughters, so I have to be careful about what I write, it's called I Got Naked in Graceland, and I'm not going to tell you the whole story. It's innocent, more innocent than you think. Actually, Aunt Delta was a fan, and I was doing a TV show there on the 10th anniversary of his death, and she told me, please park in the carport where Elvis parked, and we love you, and we watch you on TV all the time. Our house is your house while you're here. So I said, okay. And so I went there and changed. It was real sweet August, It's a horrible time when he died, August 15th, 16th. And I was naked in Graceland, taking showers and everything else. And I sat there and said, man, how cool is this? I am naked in Graceland, all alone, though. I should be here. There are people that should be sharing this moment. And it was kind of interesting to do that. So. But I got to meet Elvis twice, and that was another guy who had, I don't understand his charisma either. I mean, he was a good singer and everything, but he was somebody, he was the only human that I've ever been up to, that he came up to me 2 times, and I couldn't talk. I did one of those, have you ever been really stupid around somebody famous? You go. And I did 2 times that happened to me. Elvis came, he had 2 of the most beautiful women. I chased him after a concert. It was Elvis special. And my roommate Carol, we blew up my Ford Torino, chasing the convoy. We had to run the last 100 yards to get to him. So we're the only guys there. State troopers are there. They said, you can stay. So he comes out, and he comes out with those heavy-set sunglasses, very jet black hair, which I now know was dyed, but I didn't know it then. He was taller and bigger than I thought he was. Had these beautiful, I thought they were beautiful at the time. I think now I would have thought they were bimbos. But these, platinum blonde, he was walking like this, and he saw us there, and he went, and then he just said, okay, you're in it. Didn't get an autograph, didn't do anything. And then the same thing happened about 9 months later, right before he died. He flies in on the plane. Lisa Marie, in the middle of the night, I'm broadcasting it live on the radio. We got Tippy's out there, okay. I'm out there broadcasting. The band comes off, everybody comes off, the hairstylist comes off, they're all gone. We think we've missed it. So I was told by my wink, my state trooper friend was going to be his driver, stay. And so we were the only ones that stayed. And he comes off the back of the plane by himself and comes, and he's real relaxed looking, looked great. And he walked, like this, and he was going to get in the car and just came. And I said, well, let me tell you how to move this way. And here he is walking toward me, and I said, and he's on the ground here in Montgomery at 12:07 in the morning. Elvis Aaron Presley playing at Garrett Coliseum this weekend. He's coming right up to us now. I absolutely froze. I vapor locked on the air. Could not speak. And he just looked at me like I was crazy. And then as soon as he turned away and got in George Lee's trooper car, and that was Elvis Aaron Presley. It's like the day the earth stood still. It's like, that moment in my life had been frozen, and I couldn't speak to that guy. And that's never happened to me, except one other time with Clint Eastwood, when he corrected me. I asked him a stupid question, and we had bonded, and he knew my boss, and I knew, and I never met him before. This guy's a very big, impressive man. Now he's a little older, not as scary, but this was during the good, dirty Harry days, when you just knew, because you're an idiot, you think he's Dirty Harry, which he's not, but you just knew he's Dirty Harry, And so we're sitting across from each other. We'd bonded, talked about golf, and, well, Clint, how are you so-and-so today? Well, we're doing good. We're going back and forth. I said, well, what would you rather have, a Grammy or a top box office hit? And he went, what? And I went, uh-oh. He said, do you mean would I rather have a top box office hit and a #1 record, or maybe a Grammy and an Oscar? Thinking literally, going, oh yeah, that's right, yes. And so I felt like on broadcast news, my eye twitching, and I watched my tape and I don't see it, but it was like I felt those nerves kind of, doing this kind of thing, and I felt the sweat starting to come down. If you've been in one of those horribly embarrassing situations, you really don't look, you look fine, but your body feel like you're going to pee in your pants. And I had this out-of-body experience that I was interviewing this man, but he was going to kill me. Pull out his gun and say, okay, that's my day. It's a weird job.
What's your favorite?
That's ridiculous. What a country club. I mean, it's 2 weeks of all things. I had to when I worked in Houston because I didn't understand enough about it. And so they put me in oil and gas school so I understand about the horse head and all that business more than I'd ever want to know about oil and gas. But I have a diverse repertoire of the skin.
What about the chicks? Do you think have they divorced country?
No, well, I think they've just gotten too bitter, and I think they were. They got a lot of that's a weird deal. It's kind of like Garth Brooks. Natalie was a train wreck ready to happen from the first day, and self-fulfilling prophecy. Another example of when you get real rich, you think you can do anything. Immaturity, great talent, immaturity. Probably should have been in rock in that country in the first place. The other girls are just kind of victims, but they've grown bitter because they've seen other things that have gone on. They've torn their shirt with the people who are their middleman between the customer, and their music, and that's not good. They're not ever going to be a rock act. There aren't a whole lot of rock people with mandolins last time I checked. But if they want to, they can work forever in LA and New York because they'll always be thought of as country because of their name. And I think they'd be able to work, but they're not going to want to just work. Once you get that level of ego, I don't know that you want to start to back and play just for the love of the music anymore. I don't know, maybe you're wrong. I think it's going to be one of the most interesting stories to find out about is how they're going to work out. But I'm really worried they're maybe a little too bitter. And as women, they've got a bunch of children and going to have more, and I think that's going to make them not want to be away from home very much. So we shall see. They're smart to get 3 other girls and sell the name Dixie Chicks to them and let them go out there.
Yeah, I can do that.
Recycled Dixie Chicks, I don't know. Huh?
It's when they were over back. When they first started, there was 4 girls.
Oh, I remember they were Texas Monthly 15 years ago, and I don't even know if there's anybody in there that's in there today, If it was a whole other group or what, but, I just, they never tried to play well with others. That's another problem. They never came to Nashville and tried to court the people there, really. They always were outsiders. And that didn't give them a lot of juice, for people to love them when they did fall down. They weren't there to ready to pick them back up. Well, let me I would be glad to. Do I have a Sharpie?
Yes.
Thank you very much. We're going to do the red shirt.
There's another purse.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll get good about this in a minute. All right. Appreciate it. Paul. Merle Haggard has the best autograph. You can read his autograph. I know I can't either. Sir. All right, who are these two? Jordan? I don't understand a lot about like certain did something like that. Made them bigger. Whatever lift it was, didn't quite lift it.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay.
I'd like to eBay. I just when I moved this last time, it's ridiculous. Too much stuff. They got hockey jerseys, for example. From different places. I don't think they can pay for. And just stuff.
Search on eBay for RIAA. You mostly get people selling their
Gold albums.
Gold albums for $400.
See, that's cool. I got a gold album from Aha, Take On Me, that I did. I helped discover them. Remember them?
That's an outstanding video. Oh, yeah.
Well, I was one of the first people in America to give that thing a chance. we did a promotion with them on the TV station. And I still have several of the original frames, the hand-drawn frames, if you remember the video.
Yeah.
I've still got some of the hand.
That's amazing.
That's something I could probably sell on eBay.
Good Lord, yeah.
You can email me today, seriously. And I'll talk to you about that, because I wouldn't mind. I'd like to at least walk me through how to do it, because I don't want to have to try to figure it out.
It's a lot easier than what it's saying you are.
I'm not sure.
Get into it. And it's fun, too. I meet a lot of new people.
Be a good girl, right?
Okay.
Okay. Great job.